The best events are organized by fat people, basically.
I think you and I could talk for days and days, like do a marathon overnight conversation about all of this, like to just even begin to unpack minuscule parts of it all.
There was a question about like what are the green flags when you're invited and what are the red flags when you're invited. And I think like for me the main green flag is like are there other fat people there?
Yeah,
Are the fat people organizing it or not?
yeah,
Um
that's a
and
big one.
if like I get there and there hasn't been like any kind of accessibility info shared prior, I'm like very suspicious.
I mean, the ones that are going to be conscious of making the environment and space as comfortable as possible for fat people usually are
Yeah.
us fat producers and event organizers. So, yeah. Um, but on that note, I don't really know a lot of fat producers and organizers. In fact, in my decades of work experience, I found myself being the only woman of size doing what I do and have done. And this is what's great about this, honestly. It's like fat representation. I mean, fat people talk about stuff too, and we aren't invisible. And although you'd like to maybe think we are, or hope we don't show up and notice that you don't have comfortable seating for us, I think everybody should just get on the program, get with it, like they have with every other thing.
Yeah.
You know, you've stopped bullying every other marginalized group, well, except for trans people. Tisk tisk. But you should stop bullying them and fat folks too.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about
Yeah.
that?
There's somewhere in the group of questions, something that stuck out to me was like, what are sort of the assumptions or the stereotypes, the messaging that you've heard around fatness? And like one of the main things is that it is a choice, like that it is 100% our fault that we are fat. It is choices we made, and that often feeds into this antagonism of like, well, if you don't want us to make fun of you, just don't be fat.
Right.
That like you deserve it because it's your fault in some way.
Right, right. Not taking into account that my mother was fat, my grandmother was fat, and her mother before her was. So there's definitely a genetic thing. Also, people's metabolism and chemistry and biology and just growing up in a fast food like post-industrial complex. I mean, I'm sorry, when I was a kid, everything came out of a can or a box. So, I
Mm,
mean, that's what I was raised on. I was raised on canned and boxed food.
yeah.
No fresh food at all, just meat. And so, society did that. Um, our world has made money off of making us fat, and now they're making money off of trying to make us not fat. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we're just like, I think, we said, oh, we're the last acceptable joke out there. Well, I think we're like also the last group of folks that are being capitalized and monetized in a way that seems okay to everybody else. Like, how many diet programs and weight loss programs and I mean, it's overwhelming. Yeah, so I mean, I've had an unhealthy relationship with food my whole life, and it's not been actually my choice. So I think there's that.
Yeah, and like I think for me too, like there's there's this real instinct in me to be like because I think if I think about it really honestly with myself, like there isn't a lot of choice involved in me being fat because I've been fat since I was very small. So like there is yeah, like you and so it's sort of like at a certain point it's like, well, I haven't done anything particularly weird to become the way I am. And so like to me I think there is like a little bit less choice than or a lot less choice than people think there is. And so my instinct is to be like, well, like it's not my fault, so don't be mean to me. But also then I have to stop myself and be like, Well, but like if it was my choice, what does it affect you and like why are you mean to me anyway? Like
Yeah.
if people, if you have someone who's bisexual and who could be with a same-sex partner or could be with a different sex partner and they choose to be with a same-sex partner, are we mean to them? Is it right to be mean to them just because like they could act like they're straight? Like it's really odd that is sort of the first place and the last place that we go with fatness. It's such a weak and unethical argument to begin with, you know? It's as you say, like sort of that excuse to still bully people. It's like you can't bully people for being gay anymore, so now we bully fat people instead. And it's like anything, of course, to justify that. And even if being fat isn't a choice, it's like, well, if it was, it still would be mean. Like, why are we fighting so hard to find an excuse to bully people?
And I think that's the sickness in the world in general is I think we are sick, like society in general, and I think people who are not surrounded by educated folks and information and education and um, marginalized communities, which seem to be more awake about all these things. I mean, I think if you're just rolling in mainstream world, I mean, I think things are so damn easy and people have lost sight of the fact that they're sick and they're and the sickness is the ability to be mean to people. That's the sickness I'm talking about. I mean, if you have it in you to be mean to someone, say something derogatory to someone else, you're sick. Everything you say to someone has a consequence. Everything you say to someone has an effect on them. Whether they're like, I'm not listening, you can't affect, it doesn't matter. It
Yeah.
still does. Every time you put out anything into the world, there's an effect. And that's why people say, well, okay, I'm going to say this out loud so that I hold myself accountable. Okay, well, that's true. And so if you think about that in the other way, well, I'm going to say this to this person and tell them what I think. I mean, it's a sickness to think that one, you would say that anything to anyone, try to hurt anyone, especially even a stranger. I mean, people are like, oh, it's a stranger. I don't give a shit. Fuck
Yeah.
you, Patty. You know what I mean? But I back to this, like, I mean, I really do. I think it's like it's a sickness, but I think it's a choice. I do, because I think in this day and age, I think it's just people want to be sick. I think are choosing to be sick because everyone knows that being not nice and saying not nice things to people is hurtful and it's wrong. And so again, that's where I'm like, okay, you're just not okay.
If you have worth like social skills and morals than a cartoon rabbit, and I'm just thinking back to Bambi where like Thumper's like, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say nothing at all. And it's like you can't meet that standard of a cartoon rabbit.
Right.
Right? Like it's just sort of like, yeah, it's dumbfounding,
And we know
honestly. Yeah.
why, and it's because, media, television, the internet has given face to and platforms to idiots like Trump, like Jordan Peterson, like the idiots in the world who
Yeah.
think they can say and do and have and voice their poison, and they do out loud and in front of others. And so all the weak, sick people in the world would be like trample onto that because it's like it's an empowering feeling. Like they're weak and sick, so they don't have any other strength other than to like bully someone who they think is below them, but it's just,
Yeah.
it's laughable. I look forward to the hate comments on this video. I do. I,
Yeah.
I
No,
do.
it
I look forward to every single person showing me who who they
who they
are,
are.
how
Yeah.
how fucked up they are.
Yeah. And like it seems to me it really comes down to like fear and insecurity and like we do see people flocking to like Jordan Peterson for example has just this huge base of fanboys, right? Who are like, yeah, like let's shit on trans people and it's like
Who are the
that has to come
grossest
from a place of
pariahs on the planet?
yeah.
Like
It
the
has to come from a
grossest.
place of like, I am insecure, I am afraid, I am like, I have these vulnerabilities that I'm not willing to examine. I'm not willing to like unpack them. So I'm going to find somebody who I can make feel less than me. So I feel a little bit better about myself.
I think
And
that's
like,
really kind of you.
well,
That's kind of you. You're saying that they're insecure and they're scared, and so that's why they're acting out. You're being very kind. I think they're just nasty, stupid people. Once you're an adult, you know the difference between right and wrong, and if you
that's
don't, then
true.
you're just a dummy. So it just
That's true.
always circles back to you're just stupid. That's why you're mean. Only stupid people are mean. It's true. I mean,
Yeah.
otherwise, you wouldn't be mean to people because you know the outcome of that.
Yeah. You have to be purposefully ignorant at a certain point to do that stuff. So,
Uh, Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah.
I think, yeah,
Thank you for thinking I'm so kind though. That's
I
that's
do.
very sweet of you. But like yeah, I when we talk about this stuff, it reminds me of this thing that I heard from there's this lovely drag queen. Um she's like an older drag queen now, but she's Irish and her name's Panty. And she said this really interesting thing once in one of her talks and she said that like we grow up in a world, she was talking about homophobia, and she's like, we grow up in a world that is just completely like bathed in homophobia. Like everywhere you go, everything is homophobic. You just like are raised in this like stew of homophobia. And she's like, you know, if you're a little bit homophobic, in a place where like everything is homophobic all the time, if you're only a little bit homophobic, you're doing pretty well. And I think that that is sort of how I feel about fatness. It's like, if you're somebody who does something not knowing, if you're just like not aware or something, like say you don't know that fat people need like sturdy chairs or something, it's like that's one thing because like we live in a society that is so completely saturated with fat phobia that like if you don't absorb a little like you don't have a pulse, right? And so
Yeah.
it's really hard to like as a fat person to be in that environment and not absorb some of that messaging and
Mm.
to not be like, yeah, okay, like maybe my fatness is my fault, or maybe my fatness means I am going to die really young, or maybe my fatness means that I am lazy, or that I have no willpower, or that I'm not um I don't know, like that I hate myself or whatever. I've had people tell me like I need to get into therapy and I'm like, "Bitch, you think I'm not in therapy? I've been in therapy for over a decade." you know? And so like it's really tough to not believe that stuff. And so I think that comes back to sort of
But what
like
if it,
that narrative that contradicts it and having that community and having sort of that support system to be able to be like yes, everyone says that, but everybody is wrong. Like it's hard to believe that if you're by yourself.
and I mean, like I go through times where I feel the same. I mean, like my partner's walking 14,000 steps a day and I'm not. And that's why they're staying skinny and I'm staying fat. But I had just got a knee replacement and I just had a hip replacement. Well, you got those things because you were fat. Well, yeah, well, there it goes back to my upbringing and my economic status and I mean, I'm sorry, there's an answer for all these things. So maybe it is true. Maybe those things are true. But you know what? So fucking what?
Yeah.
Like, too fucking bad.
Yeah.
If it bothers you, move along. Get a life. Because I'm married to a gorgeous human. I have a beautiful home. I have a beautiful life. I'm joyous. I'm happy. I'm sorry, like, get a life. Like,
Yeah.
it's, and again, back to like, if you're being mean to people, if you're just being mean to people, then you just don't have a life.
The content that I post where I am the most confident and the most assertive and the most joyful is where people just get seem to get the most angry in the comments.
Oh,
They're like,
right,
"How dare you? You're
right,
supposed to be miserable. You're supposed to be starving yourself. You're supposed to be like on the
right.
treadmill 24/7 and
Fuck you. Fuck
you're here
you.
being happy?" you know?
Fuck
Yeah.
you.
For
Absolutely.
sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And I feel
But
like
that's,
that's sort of the biggest fuck you from a fat person is like, no, I'm fat and I'm perfectly fine. I'm
yeah,
doing great. I'm out here living my best life. I'm
exactly.
feeling good about it. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm not like, I'm sorry, I don't want to walk up for an hour and a half. That's boring to me. I'm sorry. I have more exciting things I want to do with my time.
Yeah.
And, life is short, and I'm just going to do the best I can do with the body that I was given because I was fat from a very young age. It's in my genes, that's proven. And I like food, that's proven too. And I don't feel like starving
Same.
myself for anyone else. That
Yep.
so, I mean, like, period. That's all. That's all
Yeah.
there is to it. So, back to, I'll just always keep shooting back to, are you a kind human on this earth? Are you here to be kind and considerate and, or are you a cunt? I mean, that's all there is to it.
I do love that word. I think it's the Brit because I'm have a British background. I think it's my British background, but I just feel such an affinity for that word. But it's so
Oh,
offensive to so many Canadians because it's
I
such a like
love it.
punchy word in
So
Canada.
is dyke. You should see.
Yes.
Everyone's offended. It's such a harsh word. Well, I'm a harsh fucking bitch. So, like, I think it fits. So,
Yeah.
but people don't like, and fat and fat.
Same.
My average sized friends, I'll be like, oh, fucking fat, I'm sore, and they'll just be like, or like I'll be like, oh, thinking about maybe doing this or that or whatever, and being fat is always these challenges, and people, like, even the closest friends I have will get stiff and
Yeah.
be like, I don't know how to react. Elena's talking about her fatness. I'm like, just fucking chill out. Like,
Yeah.
react the same way I react when you talk about your, anything. Like, it's
Yeah.
just, so we're still the brunt of the joke. It's still acceptable. People are still awkward around us. They're awkward to hear the word fat. They're awkward, you know, that's on them. That's on
Yeah.
them, Leah. We're fine. That's on them. Um, Misguided, misdirected, sad, unhappy, mean people, and that's okay. I mean, my life, life is short. I'm gonna live it, and and no one's ever like. I am not unapologetically going to hold high my fatness, my dykeness, queerness, my love for my queer community, and my fat community,
Yeah.
and fuck anyone who doesn't get on that boat with me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's funny when you talk about sort of like the harshness of like Dyke and like you said you were like a I forget, do you say you were a badass bitch? What did you say? You were a
Something like
something
that,
like that.
probably.
And I thought of this time that I was unwell and my partner was really concerned and he had gone into work and he was like chatting with our colleague and he's like, oh, I just really hope she'll pull through. I'm really scared. And my colleague was like, oh, she'll be fine. She's a tough bitch.
Nice.
And and Eli came home and he's like, I have to tell you what she said because he knew how happy it would make me for someone to call me a tough bitch. And it's such a like people get confused when like, somebody said that I had a buddy who was actually very quiet, but he got a few drinks in him at a party one day and he said to me, Leah, you remind me of my therapist. She's brash. And I remember it being like just the proudest moment of my life and just being like, oh, thank you. Because like just being a loud woman and someone like seeing you as a loud woman and not saying it like in a way that is like demeaning or like criticizing you or anything, but just like recognizing that you are loud and that you embrace that in yourself is so enjoyable. Like I really enjoy that.
Well, that's good. And thankfully, my partner of 18 years enjoys it too. I mean, maybe this is something we do again sometime, Leah.
Yeah,
I just like hanging out with you, and
me
uh,
too.
yeah, and there's a good life to be had, and I'm not gonna let anyone tell us any different. I mean, they
That's
can go
right.
ahead and try, but now they know that I just think they're dumb. So,
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and I guess just like on I guess a final like more positive note, like who are the fat people who like you look up to and who like enrich your life?
I don't have a lot of fat role models, I'll be honest. That's a hard one for me. Uh,
And it was for me too when I thought about it, honestly.
yeah, and that says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't be hard to answer who our queer role models are, but why is it hard for us to? Well, because we're brave. Because people before us didn't come out talking about being fat. In fact, you know, they tried to ignore it and hide it, and everyone else did. People were. I mean, there was a different. I mean, there were a couple decades there where people didn't talk about fat. I mean, and I'm not saying that was any better, but it was better than being mean to fat people.
Yeah.
But I think it comes down to we're good, and let's be what we wished we had, right?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, like, when I was thinking about it, honestly, I thought, like, there are a couple of people that, like, early on in my fat acceptance journey were, like, really crucial to me. Like, I think probably the first, like, influencer type person who I was exposed to that really resonated with me was this lady named Reagan Chastain who runs this Dances with Fat blog, and she like talked a lot about fat issues, and she had like guides on like how to go to the doctor and be taken seriously and things like that, and it was really really like formative for me. But
Yeah.
like I heard about her like 10 years ago, and I'm just thinking to myself like who since then do I like look up to? Who do I like, because I do think that like even now that pressure is like I'm just thinking about like Lizzo, who's like she started out as this like amazing artist who was like super fat and proud and whatever, and now we look at her and she's like basically straight size now. Like she's so much smaller now. She's like not really that like fat figure, and it's like people get to make choices about their bodies. I'm not saying that they don't, but like even when we get somebody, we like lose them so quickly as soon as they're in the spotlight. And I think like for me,
And that's what we've
basic,
seen with a long
yeah,
with a long list of fat actors, singers.
yeah.
It-
And so it's just like we don't get to have nice things, right? So I think really my answer to that is like my fat role models are like you and
yeah.
like my people in my community who like thanks, who like really go out there and make a difference and are willing to put it on the line and willing to be vulnerable and willing to brave the attacks and willing to like do all of that stuff because they know that it's important, and they're contradicting this like narrative that we hear all the time from the mainstream, and they're willing to be like no no no, it's okay, this is the table in the cafeteria where the nice people sit and you can come and sit with us.
Right.
And like for me, it's really those people at this point rather than like public figures and stuff, because that's really who we have to rely on, I
And that's
think.
again back to community, right? Let's
Yeah.
find our people and hold them close, and keep empowering them. We need community. We need each other, and we need to support each other and lift each other up. And yeah, and I'm here to do as much as I can for you and anyone else.
Thanks, Elena.
Thank you, Leah, for creating this platform, for being so brave, for withstanding the storm of idiots that think they have the right to say anything to you they wish, and
Mm.
for continuing to be proud and beautiful and wonderful, Leah. And it's not just your voice that's beautiful. You're beautiful. It's beyond the surface. And even your surface is beautiful, but beauty is beyond. It's beyond it. Beauty is in it's that place inside that I talked about earlier where you're just not someone who would ever be mean to someone else. So and that's where I think true power lies. So that's be confident in knowing that I think you're an incredibly powerful human, and I thank you for putting yourself out there and for allowing these conversations to happen, and I hope we can have more again sometime.
Yeah, same. There's this wonderful quote from Jamila Jamil, who's I don't know if you know her, she was on The Good Place. She's this like absolutely beautiful woman from the UK, and she talks a lot about body image and stuff. And she had this quote that was, "You are absolutely gorgeous, and then is the least interesting thing about you."
Right?
And I think that is like a nice little note to end on
Right on.
because you are absolutely gorgeous, and that's the least interesting thing about you as well.
Right on.
Thank you so much, Elena.
Thank you, Leah. And
I would
looking
love to
forward.
do this again. Yeah.
I'm happy I actually get to see you in a couple of weeks. So,
Yeah.
person, I get to wrap my arms around you. So, that's
Yeah.
looking forward to that. And thanks for this great chat.
Yeah, likewise.